Revealed, how an incredible new maid transformed the lives of millionaire twins in 30 days. In the heart of Willow Creek, where rose-colored mansion walls gleamed against manicured lawns, millionaire twins Jake and Sam appeared to have it all, a lifestyle of luxury that was the envy of many. Yet, beneath the surface of their opulent existence lay a gnawing pain, amplified by the recent death of their father. As they sipped aged wine in their grand dining room, the echoes of laughter that once filled their home turned hollow. Sam's heart ached for the family bond he felt slipping away, while Jake focused on expanding their father's empire, mistaking ambition for healing. Enter Maria, the new maid, a single mother who had crossed borders in search of a better life. Armed with a gentle spirit and an unwavering work ethic, she dusted and polished the remnants of a family crumbling beneath the weight of grief. As she cleaned the sprawling estate, Maria would pause, glancing at the twins, barely masking her concern for their strained relationship. Little did they know, her simple presence was the spark they needed to ignite change. One evening, the tensions erupted like a summer storm. The aroma of a lavish dinner wafted through the air, but tempers flared, and voices rose higher than the elegant chandelier overhead. "You don't get it, Sam. We need to move forward," Jake shouted, his frustration spilling over. "All you care about is Dad's legacy." Sam retaliated, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. That night, Maria, witnessing the heartbreaking division, couldn't stay silent. She stepped into the chaos, her voice steady yet soft. "In my world, we value family above all. I may not have much, but I have love. It binds us together and makes us whole." Her words struck like lightning, pulling the twins from their grief-riddled haze. For the first time, they felt a flicker of realization: wealth alone couldn't mend broken ties. That moment passed, but Maria's story lingered in their hearts, a tale of struggle, sacrifice, and the profound belief in family unity. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days stretched into weeks, but the flood season began. An unexpected storm that swept through Willow Creek, threatening to wash away the carefully constructed lives of its residents. Their hamlet transformed into a sea of panic. Maria, however, became a beacon of hope, rallying neighbors into a formidable team. Watching her daily courage, Jake and Sam stood in awe, finding a newfound respect for her. Something started shifting in their hearts. As the floodwaters persisted and their community banded together, Jake recognized the fragility of wealth, while Sam felt the embrace of genuine connection. They exchanged glances heavy with unspoken understanding. Their father's legacy was no longer about business, it lay in the bonds of family and friendship. They began taking steps to reach out to each other, slowly scraping away the walls they built around their hearts. Standing side by side after the storm, they faced the remnants of their old lives, tentative smiles breaking through the sorrow. Maria had shown them that true transformation comes from facing adversity together. But the question lingered: could they truly reconcile and invite her into their family, or were they destined to retreat into their old patterns once more? In the weeks that followed the flood, Jake and Sam found themselves drawn to Maria in a way they had never expected. Each day, they watched her work tirelessly, helping neighbors salvage belongings, clearing debris, and offering comforting words to those in distress. The storm had shaken Willow Creek, but it also stirred something within the twins, a sense of community they had long abandoned. The mansion was still damp from the storm, a reminder of the chaos that had invaded their lives. Yet, for the first time in ages, there was laughter echoing within its walls, albeit tentative. After days of hard work, they sat together for dinner, the three of them at the heavy oak table that once felt like a chasm between them. It was strange yet beautiful, a dining experience transformed by shared experiences. "I can't believe how many lives were touched because of her," Jake said, nodding toward Maria as she prepared the evening meal. Her laughter ringed like melody, wrapping around them. It's amazing to think someone so humble has made such a difference, Sam added, his voice soft with admiration. Maria glanced at them, her expression humble, as if she were only doing what any decent person would do. But the twins saw in her the courage to be more than just a maid, she was the heart they had been missing. They wanted to know her story. "Why did you come to Willow Creek, Maria?" Sam asked, breaking the comfortable silence that had settled between them. Maria paused, as if weighing her words with consideration. "I came here to build a better life for my son," she began, her gaze drifting to the memories of her past. "Back home, it was hard, sometimes even dangerous. I wanted him to know that dreams can come true, even when the world tries to pull you down." The gravity of her words hung in the air. With each revelation, Maria unfolded her struggle, her relentless hope, and the notion that family meant more than just blood. Jake felt a lump form in his throat, understanding now that the weight of their own father's legacy shouldn't weigh them down, it should inspire them to grow. That evening, as darkness fell outside, the twins gathered the courage to ask Maria a question that had been lingering in their minds. Would you want to join us for the upcoming family meeting?" Jake hesitated before continuing. "We'd like you to be a part of the decision-making. We realize we need you more than just for cleaning." Maria's eyes widened, a flicker of disbelief crossing her features. She looked at both twins, searching for sincerity. "Are you sure?" "I'm just your maid." "Not just our maid," Sam interjected. "You're part of this family now, whether you realize it or not." Hope flickered in Maria's eyes, and a warm smile crept across her face. For the first time in a long time, she felt seen and valued in a way that transcended duty. Her heart felt lighter. Maybe this was the family she had always dreamt of, where love and respect thrived amidst shared struggles. As the evening lingered on, they found themselves discussing plans, dreams, and the possibility of rebuilding of not just their home but their lives. It was in these moments of connection that they felt something shifting, something powerful just beneath the surface. But just as hope began to build a solid foundation between them, an unexpected phone call shattered the moment. A lawyer on the other end announced the arrival of an inheritance dispute, one that could threaten the fragile harmony they had started to create. The question loomed: could they protect their newly formed bonds against the shadows of the past that threatened to pull them back into the darkness? Heart racing and nerves taut, Jake and Sam exchanged glances. They faced not just a family legacy but a deeper challenge than they had ever anticipated. Would they fight for each other, or would they let the weight of the past drown them again? The following day, Jake's mind raced with scattered thoughts of what lay ahead. The sun filtered through the mansion's windows, creating a patchwork of light and shadow on the worn wooden floor. He sat at the kitchen table, finding it hard to concentrate on breakfast. Sam was silent across from him, staring into his coffee as if it held answers to questions they weren't yet ready to voice. Maria entered with a basket of fresh fruit, her smile sunny and genuine. "Good morning. You boys look like you need some sunshine on your faces." Jake forced a smile, grateful for her upbeat spirit, even as the weight of the phone call hovered over them. "Hey, Maria. Just thinking about today." "Yes, today," she chirped, but her voice trailed off as she sensed the tension. "What's on your mind?" Sam exchanged a look with Jake, and in that moment, he understood. They couldn't hide from Maria. Not anymore. "We got a call from a lawyer last night," he began, his tone somber. "About our father's estate." Maria's face clouded, worry etching lines on her forehead. "What does that mean for you two?" Jake cleared his throat, trying to mask the shakiness in his voice. "Apparently, there's a dispute over the inheritance. It looks like someone else is claiming rights to it." Maria took a seat beside them, leaning in as if to draw strength from their conversation. "Do you know who?" "No. Not yet," Sam admitted, frustration pouring out like the coffee he stirred absent-mindedly. "But it feels like a storm brewing, and we don't know how to weather it." They shared a heavy silence. For all her warmth and kindness, Maria couldn't shield them from the ugly truths of family betrayal and greed. Yet, there was something in her eyes that held promise, a determination so fierce that it gave Jake a flicker of hope. "What if we gather the community?" Maria suggested, her resolve hardening. They've rallied together before. Maybe if they know what's at stake, they can support you. Jake felt a swell of gratitude towards her. "You mean, like a town meeting?" "Yes. The people of Willow Creek have seen what you've done for them, Jake. They'll fight for you, just like you fought for them during the flood." The twins exchanged glances again, this time filled with unspoken agreement. They needed support, and Maria was right. Together with the community, they stood a better chance. "Okay," Sam finally said, a flicker of excitement weaving through the shadows of uncertainty. "Let us do it." As they laid bare their plans, the table transformed from a mere space for meals into a war room. With each suggestion Maria made, Jake felt a spark ignite within him, pushing away the lingering dread of the upcoming inheritance battle. She had a way of infusing mundane tasks with purpose, drawing out courage they had thought lost. Hours later, they put up flyers around the community, inviting everyone to meet that evening. The air felt electric with anticipation, and as people began to gather, the sense of unity grew palpable. Neighbors, friends, old acquaintances, they all arrived, willing to lend a hand to the twins in their time of need. As Jake looked around at the faces filled with determination and support, he felt a swell of emotion. Maybe they weren't standing alone. Maybe their new family, expanded and strong, was ready to fight for all they had rebuilt. But just then, a black SUV rolled to a stop outside the mansion. Jake's heart sank as he recognized the familiar silhouette stepping out. It was Walter, his father's old associate, the very embodiment of everything they hoped to escape. As he approached, Jake felt a chill in the air. This man meant trouble. What did he want? Would Walter destroy their newfound hope before it even had a chance to flourish? The gathering inside suddenly felt fragile, like a bubble about to burst. Walter strode across the gravel path, his polished shoes glinting in the fading sunlight. Jake's fists clenched under the table as he tried to maintain a calm facade. The warmth from the gathering inside the mansion felt miles away now, his heart racing with each step Walter took toward them. Inside, the room was filled with chatter, laughter, a unity that Jake could only hope to hold on to. But the moment Walter entered, it all went quiet. The laughter turned into whispered concern. Jake's instincts screamed at him that they were being invaded. "Evening, everyone," Walter's voice echoed, smooth yet laced with condescension. He stood there like a predator, eyeing the gathered crowd with a degree of amusement. "I see you're all here holding a town meeting without proper invitations." "Walter," Jake said, forcing his voice to stay steady, "what are you doing here?" The older man smirked, crossing his arms. "I came to extend an olive branch. You wouldn't want to upset the natural order of things, would you?" Jake's heart dropped. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Sam shift nervously, his jaw tightening as he flicked his gaze toward Maria. She watched Walter with an expression that shifted from confusion to anger. He could sense her wanting to protect them, but he also knew she didn't understand the depth of Walter's manipulations. "You think you can just come here and threaten us?" Sam challenged. Walter raised an eyebrow, unfazed. "Threaten? No. Just preparing you for reality. The estate isn't what you think it is, or perhaps it never was." He leaned closer, lowering his voice to a conspiratorial whisper that sent chills down Jake's spine. "There are layers beneath this little inheritance dispute. Have you ever heard anything about common-law marriage?" The room shifted again, this time rippling with nervous murmurs. Whatever he had in mind, it would cut straight through the fragile connection Jake had been hoping to forge with the community. "What are you implying?" Jake asked, his voice sharp. "Just that blood isn't necessarily all that counts. You might want to dig a little deeper before you rally the troops." He smiled, obviously delighted by the growing tension. Walter took a step back, savoring the effect of his words. "Oh, and I'd tread carefully if I were you. I'm not the only one concerned about this little get-together. Word gets around. Before Jake could respond, one of their neighbors, Mrs. Thompson, bravely stepped forward, chin raised defiantly. "This is our town, Walter. You're not welcome here. We stand by Jake and Sam." The crowd buzzed in agreement, but Jake felt the cracks beneath the surface. Fear threatened the hard-won sense of solidarity. What truth lay buried? Walter relished the tension, chuckling softly to himself. "You'll find out soon enough." With that, he turned, disappearing back to his sleek SUV, leaving behind a room soaked in uncertainty. "Jake, what did he mean?" Maria touched his arm, concern flooding her features. I don't know," Jake stammered, resisting the urge to unravel everything in his mind. Sam grabbed Jake's shoulder. "We need to fight, Jake. We can't let him twist this against us." Together, Maria added firmly, "But we need to know exactly what we're dealing with. We can't be blindsided again." Jake took a deep breath, looking at the faces around him. The hope, the determination mingled with fear. This was more than just an inheritance now, it was a battle for their identity, their family, perhaps their future. As the night wore on and friends gathered closer, they began to speak up, sharing their own fears and potential connections to make. In those moments, amidst the whispers and hints of something darker, a resolve began to grow, but Jake knew they needed answers. And soon, he'd have to confront the truth, no matter how painful. Turning to Sam, he spoke softly, "We need to find out who this other claimant is and fast." As they locked eyes, a sense of unbreakable determination ignited between them. Little did they know, the answers they sought would lead them to a revelation that would forever change the course of their fight. The next day, they set off to uncover the truth, but Jake couldn't shake off the feeling that they were still being watched. Something told him that Walter wouldn't be the only obstacle in their path. Who else was out there waiting to strike when they least expected it? The dawn cracked through the clouds, pale light spilling over the town as Jake and Sam climbed into their old pickup truck. Shadows flickered as they drove past familiar streets, the neighborhoods they had known all their lives now feeling like a maze filled with unseen dangers. The stakes had transformed, and Jake's stomach twisted in knots. "What's our plan?" Sam asked, gripping the dashboard tightly, his knuckles as white as the truck's paint. "First, we talked to Mr. Connors," Jake replied, trying to hide the tremble in his voice. Mr. Connors was the elderly lawyer who had handled his parents' estate. He'd know more about the family's past, perhaps even about this so-called common-law marriage. As they turned onto the narrow street that led to Mr. Connors' office, the sun peeked out. A moment of warmth settled on Jake's shoulders, though it did little to ease the dread pooling in his chest. The office was old-fashioned dark wood and heavy books lining the walls, the smell of aged paper and leather filling the air. As they entered, Mr. Connors looked up with his usual warmth, but there was a flicker of caution in his eyes. "Jake, Sam," he greeted, leaning back in his chair. "What brings you in today?" Jake cleared his throat, recounting Walter's words and the tense gathering. Mr. Connors listened intently, his brow furrowing deeper with each detail. When he finally spoke, his voice was hushed, laced with concern. "Common-law marriage? That is indeed a complex topic," he murmured, his fingers tapping thoughtfully on the desk. "In some cases, it can grant rights as strong as those of a legal marriage. But it varies by state. You need to tread carefully." The weight of those words settled heavily in the room. Sam shifted uncomfortably. "So we have to find out if someone claims that right?" "Yes," Mr. Connors said, his eyes narrowing slightly. "But there may be other complications. You must be vigilant. Walter has a reputation for being ruthless. There may be others aligned with him, ready to pounce on any weakness. I've seen too many families fall apart under these pressures." Jake felt a chill run through him. "What do we do then?" "We have to protect what's ours. Start with family members and those who might know about your parents' past. Dig into their history," Mr. Connors advised, his tone firm yet sympathetic. "Every detail matters." As they left the office, urgency coursed through Jake. He glanced over at Sam, who seemed lost in thought. What if we can't find anything? Sam asked quietly, the doubt creeping into his voice. We have to fight, Jake replied, determination igniting in him. We owe it to our parents. We owe it to ourselves. They drove toward the old family home, the place where they had grown up, filled with laughter and memories. As the trees blurred past, Jake's mind raced with everything they needed to uncover. They had to speak to their parents' old friends, neighbors, anyone who held a piece of the puzzle. Pulling up to the house, they were greeted by the creaking of the porch swing as the wind picked up. It seemed as if the very structure was alive with memories, echoing ghosts of past gatherings. They stepped inside, the familiar scent of aged wood wrapping around them like a comforting blanket, but the comfort quickly faded as they began sifting through years of accumulated belongings, letters, and old photos. Look at this, Sam called, holding up a faded photograph. It showed their mother at a picnic, laughter in her eyes. But there was more than just warmth in her smile. A man stood beside her, his face partially hidden. Do you know him? Jake asked, leaning closer. No, but it's worth investigating, Sam said thoughtfully. As they continued digging, a feeling stirred deep within Jake's gut. Every photo told a story, every letter a possible clue. Yet in the back of his mind, he couldn't shake the anxiety that hung over them, a feeling that they were racing against time. Who else is searching for these answers? Jake wondered aloud, gazing at the collection of memories. The bond of family was frail under the shadow of Walter, and every inconsistency brought more anxiety than comfort. Suddenly, a sound at the back of the house broke through their focus, a shuffling noise followed by a soft voice. Heart pounding, Jake exchanged a quick glance with Sam. Did you hear that? Sam whispered. Jake nodded, their fight just getting started. They moved cautiously toward the noise, hearts pounding. Secrets had a way of hiding, but today, they would be uncovered. And as they neared the source, a startling realization hit Jake. Their battle was bigger than he had imagined. Who was waiting to reveal itself? In that moment, everything was on the line. Hope mingled with dread as they held their breath, ready to face whatever lurked in the shadows. Jake and Sam creeped through the faded hallways of their childhood home, each board creaking under their weight, like whispers of encouragement or warnings from the past. The air was thick with the scent of dust and memories, the type that clung to everything, refusing to let go. They followed the shuffling noise down the narrow corridor. Do we really want to find out what it is? Sam asked, his voice low, his usual confidence now tinged with anxiety. Yeah, we need to, Jake replied, his heart racing, fingers brushing against the walls for a sense of comfort. Whatever's happening here could change everything. As they reached the end of the hall, a door stood ajar, a crack of muted light spilling into the dim corridor. They exchanged glances again, silently weighing the risk, but curiosity pushed them forward. Jake nudged the door open just enough to peek inside. What they saw took their breath away. A woman stood in the room, her back to them, holding a notebook and flipping through its pages. She was young, with hair that cascaded like soft curls beneath a faded baseball cap. It was almost as if she belonged to another time and era when life felt simpler. Who are you? Jake called out, finding his voice tired and etched with uncertainty. She jumped, spinning around to face them, her eyes wide. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intrude. The look of surprise in her eyes was palpable, a mix of fear and curiosity. Holding the notebook tightly, she took a step backward. I'm just cleaning out some things. Cleaning? But who are you? Sam stepped forward, his fingers balling into fists, ready to protect Jake if needed. I'm Anna, she responded, her voice shaking slightly. I used to work for your parents. I was their housekeeper. They were good people. Jake's heart thudded in his chest. You knew them? Yes, she whispered, glancing at the walls as if they could provide the answers she needed. I came across some of their belongings and thought it would help clear things out. I didn't mean to invade your privacy. A wave of memories flooded Jake's mind, the laughter of family dinners, the warmth of hugs, his mother beckoning him to join plays in the yard. Did they ever mention a common-law marriage? Anna's brows knitted together. I didn't hear anything about that, but she hesitated, flipping the notebook open to a specific page. There were letters, personal letters between your parents. They talked about each other a lot. Sam stepped a bit closer, intrigued. Can we see them? Okay, but they're very personal. Anna watched them carefully, gauging their intentions. She hesitated again before nodding, almost reluctantly. But if it's important for you to know, I'll help. They gathered around a small table as Anna pulled out the faded letters. The sounds of rustling paper and quiet whispers filled the air as Anna read aloud from the pages. Your mother said once that love is the strongest bond and no legality can ever break that. Jake's heart quickened. This was more than just a connection to the past, it was validation, a glimpse into something his family might have hidden. There might be more than just legal claims at stake here. As letters unfolded stories, the atmosphere thickened with emotions, laughter blending with tears of nostalgia, joy mingled with sorrow. But then, a sudden realization hit Jake. Where did you find these? Anna looked up, a flicker of hesitation crossing her face. In a box out in the attic. There's more. I think you should both see it. More. Sam echoed, his curiosity piqued alongside dread. Yes, Anna replied carefully. There are things in that attic that might change everything you think you know about your parents. She took a deep breath, her gaze earnest. Will you come with me? Their hearts hammered in unison, fear and hope swirling inside Jake's chest. What had been hidden in the shadows of their family home? What could possibly unravel? As they prepared to ascend to the attic, Jake felt the thrill of danger dance in the air. A revelation was lurking just out of reach, whispering its secrets. What awaited them in the attic might reveal not just the truth of their parents' past, but reshape their futures entirely. Jake's breath caught in his throat as he exchanged nervous glances with Sam. Something in Anna's voice felt weighted, as if she carried a truth so heavy it might crumble them all under its burden. He nodded slowly, the decision made. Yeah, we'll go with you. Anna led the charge up the rickety staircase, her footsteps barely audible. Every creak of the floorboard sent shivers down Jake's spine, a reminder that they were trespassing in a territory filled with lost memories. The attic door loomed ahead, its wood darkened with age, shadows sprawling across it like tendrils of a forgotten past. Jake's heart beat hard in his chest, a rhythmic drum urging him to stay strong. As Anna pushed the door open, the musty air rushed out like a sigh, carrying with it the sense of old wood, mothballs, and something else, something electric, like anticipation. The attic was dimly lit by a small window, casting a golden hue over stacks of dusty boxes and forgotten trinkets. Cobwebs draped the corners, and the air felt thick with history, almost alive, as if the walls were absorbing their whispers. Here, Anna said, pointing to a section where boxes were piled higher than her waist. This one. She reached up, pulling a box down gently. It was worn, the corners frayed, and it felt like it had been waiting for them, tucked away from the world for far too long. Jake's hands trembled slightly as they gathered around her, a mix of eagerness and dread carving up his insides. Anna opened the box, revealing a jumble of files, old photographs, and a very old-fashioned journal. Each item looked like it hadn't seen daylight in decades. Your parents wrote all sorts of things, Anna said, excitement creeping into her voice. Things you might want to know. Jake leaned closer, his heart racing. He ran his fingers over the journal's leather cover, tracing the seams as if they were lifelines. What sort of things? Anna took a deep breath. Personal thoughts, dreams, even things about their relationship. She glanced at Sam, her expression a mixture of empathy and understanding. Some of it's raw. It's not all pretty. Just as Jake prepared himself for whatever discovery lay in front of him, something shifted in the shadows. A sudden movement caught his eye, a flash of pale light. He turned his head, squinting through the gloom and froze. "There's more," he whispered, his heart pounding against his ribs. Faint echoes of voices seemed to float in the air, intertwined with the dust motes dancing around them. "Jake?" Sam's voice filled with concern. "What's wrong?" Jake swallowed hard. "I think we're not alone." Anna stiffened, her eyes darting toward the corner of the attic. For a moment, silence enveloped them, heavy and tense. Was it his imagination, or had something truly stirred in the darkness? The hair on the back of Jake's neck stood up as he felt an ancient presence pressing in on them, begging to be noticed. "Let us get this over with," Anna encouraged, a slight tremor in her voice. "We have to see what's in here." As the three of them leaned into the box, Jake's fingers brushed against a photograph that slipped from the pile, fluttering to the floor. He bent to pick it up. What he saw sent chills down his spine, a picture of a younger couple smiling brightly in the sun, but it wasn't just any couple. It was his parents, yet in the background, there was someone else. A figure only partly obscured, but enough to ignite 1,000 questions. "Who is that?" Sam asked, eyes wide, fear lacing his voice. Jake's mind raced. I don't know. The weight of buried secrets was heavier now, and whatever this mystery was, it was important enough to shake the very foundation of what they thought they knew. Jake could feel the walls closing in, and it hit him hard. This was the beginning of something monumental. "We need to find out who that is," he decided, determination setting in. As they dug deeper into the box, each discovery felt like a step closer to unraveling the complexities of their parents' lives and the shadows they had left behind. The feeling that they were digging up long-buried secrets intensified, drowning out everything else. With adrenaline coursing through him, Jake felt hope and dread intertwining, each moment a push toward a destiny they couldn't yet see. What other secrets were hidden in the attic's depths? What truths would they uncover next? The attic was now a world of whispers. Jake could almost hear the secrets enveloping him, wrapping around as he stared at the photograph. He's never seen it before, but it felt like it belonged to him, like a piece of himself lying in wait for discovery. "Let us check the journal," Anna urged, pulling him back to the box. She sifted through the papers, her fingers brushing against the pages like they were fragile secrets from a time long past. Okay, Jake said, shaking off the chill from the photo. "Let us see what they wrote." He flipped open the journal, its pages smelling of old ink and dust. Words jumped out at him, some faded, others sharp as if freshly written. Something caught his eye: a date, a few months before he was born. "Look at this," Anna said, leaning closer. They were writing about the future, about you. The thought sent a shiver down his spine. What if these words contained the very essence of his existence? He read aloud, his voice trembling against the silence, "We can't wait to meet him. We already love him so much." Tears gathered in his eyes, a swell of emotions crashing over him. Thoughts of his parents filled him, their laughter, the way his mother's eyes sparkled when she spoke of him. But alongside that warmth came a gnawing doubt. Who was the figure in the photo? A ghost from a past he had yet to understand. "Jake?" Sam's voice broke through. "You good?" He blinked back the tears, forcing a nod. "Yeah, just this is all a lot." Anna continued thumbing through the pages, her brow furrowed. "Here is something else," she said, excitement bubbling through her voice. "They mention a friend, someone who impacted their lives significantly." Jake's heart raced, hope sparking as he leaned closer. "What's the name?" She squinted at the handwriting, brow creasing in concentration. "It says Caleb. Or maybe, something that starts with a C. This was right before they moved here." "Caleb?" Jake repeated, the name rolling off his tongue like a shadow he didn't recognize. "Do you think he's the one in the photo?" Anna shrugged. "Maybe, but you would think you would have heard of him if he was that important. Right?" Jake traced the edge of the journal with his fingertips, deep in thought. "I have to know. It could change everything." But as they debated the significance of the name, a noise echoed through the attic, cutting the tension like a knife. A loud thud came from the corner, and a beat later, a light flickered on a single bulb hanging from the ceiling, casting erratic light across the space. "Did you do that?" Sam asked, stepping back, eyes wide with fear. "No," Jake replied, his heart pounding. Anna, sensing unease in the air, clutched Jake's arm. "We should get out of here." But just as they turned to leave, a cold breeze seemed to sweep through, flickering the light once more. Burning curiosity clashed with fear, and Jake felt stuck, a part of him wanting to unravel this mystery, another part urging him to flee. "Wait," he said, voice barely a whisper. What if this is the sign we need?" "Jake, come on," Sam pressed, glancing nervously at the shadows. "This isn't an adventure movie." But Jake shook his head firmly. "No, I can't back down now. There is something more here. I can feel it." He took a step towards the corner where the noise had come from, his heart racing yet again. "We need to confront this, whatever it is." With lingering fear twisting in his gut, he glanced back at Anna and Sam. Their eyes mirrored his hesitation but also their shared resolve. Whatever was hidden in this attic held the potential to change everything they thought they knew. He gathered his courage like armor and took another step forward. What could be waiting there, just beyond the shadows? "Together," he said, his voice steady. As they moved closer, breath held and hearts in sync, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that the attic was about to surrender its deepest secrets. Could it be a friend, a foe, or something they hadn't even imagined yet? Was this where their destiny began, shrouded in mystery? The shadows danced as they approached the corner. Each step felt heavier than the last. Jake's pulse quickened. He felt like a character in one of those old mystery movies, where the truth lurked just in the dim light, waiting to be uncovered. "What's that?" Anna whispered, pointing toward a dusty, cobweb-covered trunk that had been hidden behind some old boxes. It looked ancient, the wood cracked and weathered. "I don't know," Jake said, his voice barely above a whisper. "I guess we'll find out." Sam peered over Jake's shoulder, his eyes wide with uncertainty. "Are you sure about this? What if it's just junk? Or something worse?" Anna added, her voice tight. Ignoring their protests, Jake knelt beside the trunk, his fingers trembling as he grasped the rusty latch. With a deep breath, he pulled it open. The creaking sound echoed in the attic, amplifying the tension. Inside, layers of yellowed fabric revealed forgotten treasures, old clothes, dusty photographs, and a set of old letters tied with a fraying ribbon. Jake's heart raced. He felt a mixture of dread and excitement bubbling up within him. "Look at this," he said, lifting a delicate dress. "It's like something from another time." Anna leaned in closer, her curiosity piqued. "That's beautiful, and sad." He set the dress aside and rummaged deeper until he felt the cool edges of the letters. "These might tell us more about their lives, about Caleb." He pulled them out, the names scratched in an elegant cursive hardly legible. He gently untied the ribbon, his fingers brushing against the paper. As he unfolded the first letter, Anna and Sam leaned in, their breaths hitching in anticipation. "Dear Caleb," he read aloud. "It's hard to believe you're leaving soon. You've been like family to us. I hope you'll never forget us or what we shared." "What does that mean?" Sam asked, his brow furrowing. "Did he leave? Where did he go?" "I don't know," Jake admitted, heart thrumming with confusion. "But it sounds like there was something special here, something they didn't want to lose." He continued reading, each line pulling him deeper into a world he had never known. The letters spoke of adventures, laughter, and a bond between Caleb and his parents that felt palpable. The love jumped off the pages, but so did a sense of loss and longing. What happened to him? Anna wondered aloud, eyes glistening with emotion. Why didn't they stay in touch? The air thickened with a mix of hope and sorrow. Each letter revealed fragments, mentions of dreams, a wish for the future, but no explanations for the silence that followed. What if finding him could help us understand our past? Jake suggested, voice steady now. But we have no idea how. Sam exclaimed, panic creeping back into his voice. Jake paused, looking at the faded words in his hands. Maybe these letters hold more clues. If they cared so much, surely they must have had a way to find him later. Maybe he is still around. The flickering light above swayed again, casting shadows that made the attic feel alive. Every creak seemed louder, every whisper more urgent. They were at a crossroads, go back to their ordinary lives, or dive deeper into the mystery of Caleb. With a mix of fear and exhilaration, Jake turned to Anna and Sam. We can't stop now. Not when we're so close to uncovering the truth. We have to find out what really happened. He might be the key to understanding everything. His brave words settled in the air, hanging between them like a promise. They could feel it, a shift, a push to dig deeper. But as they contemplated their next move, an ominous figure flickered in the corner of their vision. A shape, darker than the shadows around it. Jake's breath caught in his throat. Just as he opened his mouth to speak, the figure vanished, leaving behind only an unsettling chill. What was that? Anna mustered, voice trembling. I don't know, Jake replied, fear mixing with anticipation. Do you want to find out? Sam asked, his nervousness palpable. As they stood on the brink of discovery, Jake felt the weight of their shared decision. The attic was no longer just a hidden space, it was a crossroads, one that could lead to the truth or to something much darker. Together, he reminded them again, bracing for whatever awaited them in the shadows, and with one final glance at the letters, they took a collective breath, ready to step into the unknown, not realizing how much that first step would change their lives forever. What could they possibly uncover next? The attic door creaked open wider, revealing a space shrouded in dim light but bursting with the weight of memories. Jake, Sam, and Anna stepped inside with nervous excitement thrumming in their chests. Each dusty corner held whispers of their family's past, tales waiting to be unearthed, and the anticipation felt almost electric. What if this is the turning point? Jake murmured, his mind racing. What if we find out who Caleb is and what really connected him to Mom and Dad? Holding their breath, they gathered around the trunk, the faded letters and photographs surrounding them. The journal lay open, its pages fluttering slightly in the draft like ghosts beckoning them closer. Read the next one, Sam urged, his voice a hushed whisper. The thrill of discovery was palpable, but so was the tension. Uncertainty crackled in the air. Jake's fingers brushed over another letter. Okay, here goes. Dearest Caleb, I still remember the laughter we shared, the dreams we spun together under the stars. You were part of our family, always in our hearts. He paused, feeling the ache of nostalgia envelop the room. So they were close, Anna said, her eyes alight with curiosity. But why did they stop writing? What happened to him? Jake bit his lip, flipping to the next page. I don't know. But there is something powerful in these words, something that feels unresolved. He continued reading, each line deepening the mystery further. Tales of adventure, dreams, and heartaches unfolded before them. The connection between Caleb and their parents painted a vivid picture. They weren't merely family friends, they were entwined souls woven into the very fabric of each other's lives. Suddenly, a shuffling sound echoed from the corner of the room, stealing Jake's focus as shadows twisted unnaturally. Did you hear that? Sam asked, eyes darting to the source of the noise. Yeah. Jake replied, trying to shake off the chill that ran through him. Stay close. They crept forward, stepping cautiously, curiosity battling against trepidation. As they peered into the depths of the attic's shadows, they were startled to see a figure emerge, an elderly woman, her frail frame surrounded by a glow of happiness. You found my letters, she said, her voice a gentle breeze. Who are you? Jake asked, bewildered yet intrigued. The woman smiled softly, her eyes warm with recognition. I'm Betty, Caleb's mother. I've been waiting for someone to uncover the connection. A breathless pause followed, the weight of her presence crashing over them like a wave. "What do you mean waiting? How did you know?" Anna stuttered, confusion mingling with hope. "I knew your parents well. We were like family," Betty explained, her voice harmonizing with the shadows encircling them. "When Caleb left for a new life, he never let go of the bond he shared with them. I always worried. I always hoped he'd stay close." Jake felt a surge of warmth. The pieces were connecting. "Then he is still alive?" he asked, tone brightening. "Oh, yes. He lives not far from here. He wanted to protect your parents' legacy, but life got complicated." Betty's eyes shimmered with emotion. "He never wished to distance himself from your family, but fear of judgment silenced him. He misses them dearly." In that moment, everything transformed. The weight of the inheritance, the shadows of uncertainty began to dissolve in the presence of clarity, and it felt as if time had conspired to bring them together. "Where can we find him?" Emphasis laced Jake's voice, determination igniting anew. Betty stepped forward, her frail hand resting over Jake's, warmth spilling into his heart. "You might find him at the old bookstore in town. He has changed, but his heart remains connected to your family." Excitement bubbled within them. "Thank you, Betty. Thank you," Sam exclaimed, blending the excitement with a mixture of disbelief. As Betty turned to depart, she looked back. "Remember, love connects us more than anything. Cherish it." Jake felt her words sink deep into him, a promise of what could be, the richness of family bonds strengthened by every heartbeat of their lives. With newfound urgency, they hurried down the stairs, bursting into the daylight outside, their hearts glowing with purpose. The mansion of shadows had transformed into a sanctuary of light. They leaned against the old pickup, Sam breaking into a wide smile. "So, Caleb, what do you think he'll say?" "Whatever he says, it won't change how much we've come to learn," Jake replied, his heart full. With every mile they drove toward the bookstore, the past felt lighter, the future gleaming broad and welcoming. They arrived at the quaint shop, the old sign swaying with the wind, and for the first time in what felt like ages, hope bloomed brightly in Jake's chest. The door creaked open, and Jake stepped inside, the serenity of the familiar scent wrapping around him. "Caleb," he called out, feeling as if every heartbeat was a promise of reconnection. And like a vibrant ghost emerging from their family's past, a tall figure turned, stunned at first, then breaking into a radiant smile. It wasn't only Caleb's presence, it was everything that came with it, the threads of family intertwined, the legacy of their parents revealing itself anew. Jake and Sam stood on the brink of immense transformation, no longer just twins searching for a legacy, but brothers ready to embrace love through every storm. They had faced the shadows of their past and emerged as beacons of hope, forever altering the lives bound by love and laughter. "Welcome home," Jake whispered to Caleb, the power of their connection threading them together as the three of them stood smiling in renewed hope, transforming each other through the unbreakable bond of family. This marked not just an ending, but a beginning, a celebration of love, unity, and the undeniable power of hope that thrived within the walls of Willow Creek. As the sun dipped low, casting golden rays across their faces, they stepped forward, ready to embrace whatever awaited them together. This is where the story ends, but yours can begin. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive transformations that await you. Hit that like button now to feed the algorithm and support us. Comment below your feelings about this ending. What did it spark within you? And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see and feel this hopeful transformation. Your support means the world. It keeps these stories alive.